because information flows very, very freely. That's a good and bad thing. We want information to flow. We want people to be able to quickly make decisions based on that. So what we're talking about in the wheel of SharePoint 2010 is this section here called Communities. We're talking about tagging, tag clouds, ratings, bookmarks, logs and wikis, my sites, activity feeds, people profiles, expertise search, and the new organization browser based on Silverlight. So I've given you 10 ways that you can actually take advantage of SharePoint 2010 Social. And we'll quickly run through these things very, very quickly, and then we're going to jump into the demo. Actually, number one is making SharePoint more accessible. Going back to that case study, that company didn't even you couldn't get to SharePoint from the internet. So consultants who were on the road couldn't get to SharePoint sites without VPN connecting into corporate network to get said document. The sales guy who needed to show the presentation would have to pull it off of his SharePoint site so he could put it on his laptop so that he could then go and show a client. What does that do to a SharePoint environment? It makes it somewhat unusable. It makes it hard to use, and so it doesn't encourage collaboration. It actually encourages people to make copies of everything. And when they make changes, they're making changes on local copies. So in a sense, only the things that aren't changing are what's on SharePoint. It's becoming counterintuitive. Have you seen Windows Phone 7? Hasn't shipped yet. But there's this new Office Hub, and in the Office Hub is a section for SharePoint, which would allow you to not only get offline documents, but open them and edit them right on your phone. There is as well, even in Windows Mobile 6.5, a SharePoint Workspace mobile client that would allow you to get and synchronize even folders and document libraries. Pretty cool stuff. This actually becomes available very, very soon on the App Store, the mobile App Store. Now, the other thing that I find is what's the company culture, right? Understanding the culture of the company. How does information flow today? How can we actually start to shape the culture so that people want to share information? How many people in here have user groups inside of their companies? Raise your hand. Wow, that's great. How many have SharePoint user groups inside your companies? That's great. Yeah, that was like 30% still. That's awesome. That was actually one of the messages here is create the sharing culture inside your company. Around your SharePoint environment, you want to encourage people to collaborate and to get together and to share best practices. If a site is locked down, people can't learn from it. But if you can have them demo it, then you can see how they're using it and they can share best practices. As well, you can find out who's doing great things and promote those to the rest of your organization. Highly encourage understanding your culture, but also having a target of where do you want to go with SharePoint? Where do you want to go with that culture to support what you're trying to accomplish? The view into the world. Going back to our case study, essentially the SharePoint environment was a bunch of team sites. All team sites. No search, no enterprise portal. The portal, oh, we already have a portal. We already have portal technology. My sites? Nah, let's hold off on that. So there was no personal view of the world, and there was no enterprise view of the world. happens if you only deploy team sites? It makes everything a silo. Every site is next to the next site, is next to the next site, is next to the next site. We need to build a hierarchy. We need to have a way that information flows up and flows down. Let me give you an example of this. Here in this structure, we have a central portal. Where do people go for information when they don't know where it exists? On the internet, we know those search places where people go to search for information. Well, where do people go inside your organization to look for information? Is there a place where people know that they can go and search? People that are in their divisions, in their business lines, the lines of business. Where can people go for their business processes in these departmental portals? This is a very structured world above this line here. Below the line, we have unstructured world. Group sites, team sites, project sites, workspaces. These things that dynamically get created, and people can quickly share information. 6 months down the road, that may have no applicability anymore, may not apply to what's going on with the company anymore. So those sites can then be deleted or archived. But we have document management, records management solutions. And we also have project solutions and our view of the world, expertise, people sharing information from their My Sites. Now, this is where I'm going to jump into the demo rather than showing you the screenshots. Hopefully it'll cooperate with me. Great. Here's the home page of our intranet portal. This is an out-of-the-box VPC. Fairly simple what I'll be showing you here. None of it is custom. This is all out of the box. First thing we're going to do is change who I am. Let's be Brad. Okay, so now I'm logged in as Brad. I'm going to go to my site. I need to warm up this server. This server is actually in North America, so it's a little bit slow. Anybody experience that? Okay. First thing we see in our My Site on SharePoint 2010 is we have status. I'm writing, loving the SharePoint ponchos, SharePoint Peru conference. Poncho feature tomorrow. As easy as that. I've just updated my status on SharePoint.